everything is going extremely well.
And now, showtime.
Yay! Hey, welcome everybody. By the way, this is great to see you. So yeah, this is the New York place. So welcome to the show, everyone. We are in Manhattan today, and we're diving into some stuff. What I want to talk about today is we're diving into what is the most scalable ad ever. And I'm going to remove this for 1 second. What we are talking about is not like some magic ad that I've run that I'm going to start to flex on. What we're talking about is what kind of ad presents the greatest opportunity for you to scale your business. And I've had multiple conversations, a lot of people, especially in the last week here in Manhattan. I had 2 conversations with people today, and it's been incredible to watch so many people get to the point where they understand that launching more ads is antithetical to growing a business. And it's pretty simple. Nobody that understands marketing says that if you're trying to grow a business, what you want is as many different customers who buy for as many different reasons as possible. And anybody who actually understands it, how to grow a business, knows that the first sale is the least profitable, and the most profit you make is actually from repeat purchases and people buying from your business more often. So if we understand something where, if we look at how the business makes money, right? Here's how any business works. You acquire attention, you monetize it, and then you turn that into future cash flow, and then you reinvest that future cash flow back into the acquisition of more attention. The idea that you would try to sell anything at a profit and that's the way to make the most money is fucking stupid and crazy and indefensible. There is no legitimate reason that you should be spending your money promoting a product that isn't the most profitable thing for you. And that's why last week when we talked about the dead easy way to scale your business is simply to just look at your CPA and your GPT and spend less money where it costs you more money to make less. And I hear you. Well, I can make money on all sorts of things. And why would I be focused on not selling anything that generates a profit? And because, well, simply put, not all profit is created equal. If you sell something for $200 and it costs you $150 to make the sale, that's a $50 profit. If you sell something for $75 and you make $125 per sale, that's also a $50 profit. However, you can sell twice as many. And that really gets you down to understanding the relationship between everything. And I guarantee you right now, if you go into your ad account, you were to simply look at CPA, GPT, those 2 metrics, you would see that you're spending probably the majority of your money on ads that inherently are not better than average on CPA. So you're paying more money to get the sale. And the profit you make on that ad is less than average, meaning you're spending the majority of your money in a way that is more expensive and less scalable. And you're probably also solving the problem with, well, what I'm going to do is launch as many ads as possible. I see people flexing on, well, I'm launching 50 ads a day. I'm launching 100 ads a day, which is also why those people every single year talk about how Facebook's broken. And in about 4 weeks from now, they're going to complain about everything because they're creating ad fatigue by destabilizing the funnel in a way that makes accessing the second purchase the most difficult. And we've had a couple of those people on this channel and we've had live interviews, and basically every single one of them more or less said that it's not their responsibility to make the business successful. And in fact, they're defining success as how do I be a good salesman? But being a good salesman for a factory in China is very different than actually building a business that anybody should ever give a damn about. So instead, today, we're going to talk about the most scalable ad. And there are 3 things we need to dive into before we get into the thick of it. First, we need to understand that a scalable ad is all about what it's doing to the business. And for instance, if you have a lot of ads going, you have no idea what's going on in the business. And we're going to break down that math here in about 15 minutes. So stick around. And also there are chapters down below so you can skip ahead unless you're watching live, in which case, mazel tov to you. Let me know where you are in the world. I'm always interested to see where the audience is from. So that being said, let's get into it a little bit more. Now, the other issue when you're launching a ton of ads is that you have no idea what's going down to how your bottom line is being affected by any ad. And brands that regularly spend $50,000, $100,000, or $1 million on ads and have those ads running for months. And we've had people on this channel that I've interviewed in the last month that said that doesn't happen. And well, objectively speaking, they're just wrong. There are ad accounts that do that all the time. Welcome. There are ad accounts that do that constantly. In fact, most successful businesses I know are built on the back of ads that can spend thousands a day and do so for months on end. That's completely possible. Anybody that tells you that that's not happening just is bad at this job or doesn't have any experience. Either way, you shouldn't be listening to them when it comes to doing things, because don't take advice from people that aren't good at the work. My 2 cents. Now, getting in deeper, when we begin to look at what makes an ad scalable, a lot of folks will say, well, we got to look at the CPA and we're looking at, how things go. But that's not actually what's getting in. Now, I said the CPA and the GPT because if you're running 12 different campaigns to promote 300 different products and trying to make any profit, odds are 90% of your ad spend is just being wasted. At least 50% of your money, almost by definition, is being spent in a place that is less profitable for you. You don't even understand how to run a business. And that's fine. That's a really easy problem. And in fact, if you're running like 50 or 100 ads, I'd argue you don't need to launch another ad for weeks, maybe a month or two, because just doing your job better by removing bad choices is an easy way to make more money. If you stop wasting money, well, making more money becomes really easy, right? So for those of you that have, 10 campaigns with 50 ads a week or a dozen ads a month or whatever it is, there we go. Love it. Whatever it is. If you're at some level, and I would say too complex is you've got, let's say, there we go. Hey, let's say you've got 20 ads live in your account. Odds are, unless you're driving $5,000, $10,000 a day, you're probably too complicated. That's probably way too many ads. And you're chasing it like, well, the way that I make an ad work is I launch a new ad and then it gets good results and then I scale it. But here's the thing. The reason that ad works is, well, nobody's told you how ads work. So I'm going to do that right now. The reason that ad works is because when you launch a new ad, just like when you launch new content, organic or paid, when you launch a new TikTok or something like that, you publish something to your Instagram Reels or you post something to YouTube. That piece of content is shown to your audience. If your audience responds really well to it, hey, Kim, if your audience responds really well to that piece of content, then it's going to get shown to more people. And the same thing happens for ads. When you launch a new ad, it's launched to the bottom of your funnel. And if it does well, it might get shown to more people. And that's why every time you launch a new ad, what happens? It does really well and then it tanks. Actually, what's happening is it does really well because it's shown to all the people on the bottom of your funnel, and then it's asked to do any work above and beyond just basically existing. And often it doesn't do well because it's also competing against a whole bunch of things that are actually good. And also, if you've noticed, the more often you run ads, I had a dinner with a guy last week where I was saying, yeah, we launch ads all the time. And I said, why? Well, because, I want to get better results. And it's like, okay, why? Well, because, ads fatigue. And it's like, why? And well, you couldn't answer that. And the reason your ads are fatiguing often are because you're launching a bunch of new ads. So those new ads are launched at the bottom of the funnel and take sales away from the other ads, which makes it look like the performance gets worse. But really, you've just said, I know you're about ready to make a sale. In fact, I'm going to give that to somebody else and then hold you accountable for not being able to do your job. It's not net new. New ads are not reaching new people. They're reaching the people that would already be interested in seeing your content. And then if they do well, they might reach new people, which is also why when you launch an ad and you launch a bunch of new ads, what do we also see from the same people that talk about cost caps and delayed attribution and back in the day interest groups and 1,000 ads? What do they also complain about? Oh, Facebook's getting more and more expensive. Getting new customers is more and more difficult. And it's because they're creating a lack of incrementality to produce ad fatigue to then play the part of the victim because they fundamentally don't know how any of this stuff works. And if you say it out loud in a sentence, it makes complete sense. If I launch a bunch of new ads today that are all testing against the bottom of my funnel and there's not enough conversion volume for any of them to really get out of learning, but they're stealing sales from the existing ones. And then if any of them are lucky enough to exist in the marketing funnel and get the last touch attribution, because they were lucky enough. I'm then going to bet the future of my business on it and fire everything that was the reason it was good that was live yesterday. And oh, by the way, my ad costs are going up. My CPMs are getting more and more expensive. Getting new customers is more and more difficult, and Facebook's just getting harder and harder and harder. And then in the middle of June, hey, Facebook is broken again, just like we see every February as well. But we can understand why, right? Like, it makes complete sense. Hi, Brian. It makes complete sense, right? Like, the reason that your ad costs are going up is because you're not reaching new people. The reason you can't get new customers is because every time you launch new ads, it's just going after people who are already in your funnel. The reason your CPMs are going up is because all of your ads are sitting in the bottom of the funnel and you're not reaching new individuals. And remember, we know that retargeting ads, not because of the audience, but because of a 4PI analysis, ads that are smaller spend, higher frequency are going to have a higher CPM. Well, if the majority of your ads are all reaching retargeting audiences within your funnel, even if it's broad, all of your ads are going to have higher frequency. All of your ads are going to have a higher CPM. And you're going to get better and better ads according to last touch attribution. And by better and better, meaning you're going to get a higher volume of ads that look good on paper at smaller volume. And then you're just going to deploy all of those ads and completely turn off everything else. That is stupid. Like, when you say it out loud, it doesn't actually make any sense. And there's a reason why the people, I invite people onto this channel to talk with me about those things. And we kind of hit this spot where they just continually say, yes, the sky is blue. I agree with everything you're saying, but also no. Like, they accept everything, but they can't emotionally get past the part of what I've taught myself to value my work on doesn't actually have value, and it hurts to admit that. Or they're just stubborn and saying, well, it works for me. And generally speaking, for those people, that's why they run ads for other folks and not themselves, and why they complain about the same problems every single year over and over and over again. And the rest of us that actually spend our money on our own businesses that have been successful over and over again, don't worry about that stuff. Like, there's a reason why they're struggling. And people like me, I've been a part of half a dozen 8-figure exits in the last 5 years. That's so easy to do. So what we're going to talk about today is how to make the most scalable meta ad ever. Now, we're going to break this down in a couple of parts. If you have any questions about it during the live, I'm going to try to get through them all, but I also want to make sure that I get through this entire lesson. And I really appreciate all of your time here. By the way, if you're enjoying this video, go ahead and hit like. If you have questions or you love it, drop it in the comment section down below. Go ahead and subscribe to the YouTube channel if you haven't already. And tell your friends. Because we're doing big things here. And shout out to everybody. We had a brand new video launched today on the Disruptor Academy YouTube channel. And it's just been incredible to see more people come in and check it all out. I'm actually going to look at these metrics right now on that new channel, on that new video. And yeah, okay. There we go. Yeah, good things. That channel, we just published video 6, is already over 1,000 subscribers. With over 500 hours of watch time in just the last 30 days, which is incredible. I'll take it. So thank you, everybody. Now, all that to be said, let's get out of the way here. Let's get down to the most scalable ad. Now, we're going to get into the kind of campaign you should be running. We're going to get into the style of ad, how to think about it, how to deploy it, and also give you the answers to those pesky little questions that might ring up in the back of your head of like, well, this makes complete fucking sense, but it goes against what everybody who complains all the time, what they say. And why should I not listen to people who don't care about me, haven't seen the success that I want, and are trying to sell me things? Well, let's get you actual answers to all of those questions and begin to really make this whole thing work. Okay. Now, first part, I want you to begin to think about your ads and the way that they're shown to people. If we understand that the customer journey is way more than one ad, right? If we understand that we turned all of our, let's start at the very place. If you turned off all of your ads today, odds are you'd make a sale tomorrow. And you've seen this where you turn off an ad and then all of a sudden a day or two later, your CPA looks better than it was when you turned it off. And it's because you might see an ad today and then open it up or whatever and buy tomorrow. That totally happens all the time to basically everybody constantly. That's a very, very common thing. Now, if we know that the ad spend today isn't necessarily the reason for the revenue today, and the revenue tomorrow might be from an ad spend from yesterday, we begin to throw out the idea that attribution as a concept has any validity because, well, it's complete bullshit. Okay, so if we know attribution is complete bullshit, and we know that the return on ad spend, ROAS, is completely nonsense because also the ad spend today isn't the reason for revenue today. So the revenue this month isn't only because of the ad spend this month. There's no way to extrapolate those metrics as having any value because, to be fair, anybody that's worth their salt and has been in the business for any period of time laughs at anybody that says that ROAS actually matters and that attribution is a real thing. Like, that is hilarious and an indefensible argument against anybody who's been doing this for any period of time. If we understand that, then we really have to understand that what our ads are doing is the machine is showing our content to people in a way that conditions their behavior. That's what Facebook does. That's what social media does. So really, our ads work together like an investment portfolio, and you begin to think of them as cards in a deck. We began to understand with the ads, they're basically shown to people when you shuffle the deck and you show them, those ads come up in various different orders, in various different, to various different people across different platforms, all sorts of fun stuff. Now, let's do some fun math. Let's say, for instance, you wanted to understand how many different ways you could shuffle. Let's say there are 12 ads inside of your ad account. Okay, I'm going to open up ChatGPT here real quick. Let's do this. I'm going to present, stop screen, present, share screen, present ChatGPT. Great. We're going to do this. All right. Let's have some fun with math. Just so you can see how dumb it is to launch a bunch of ads. How many ways can you shuffle a 12 card deck? Let's say you have 12 ads in your ad account. How many different ways, even if all of those ads are only shown to one person or each one of those ads is only shown to the person once and they get shown to those people, how many different ways could 12 ads that only get shown once be shown to somebody? Let's say the simplest journey. How many different ways could you shuffle that 12 card deck? 479 million ways. So if your ads only ever get shown to somebody once, meaning your frequency is a 1, and you get 12 impressions, there's 479 million ways to do it. That's a lot. Now, let's say you're paying $20 CPM. Let's say, how much money would I need at $20 per 1,000 to get every combination? It would cost me $9 million to have every combination occur once. So for $9 million, you get a data set of 1 per each combination. Now I hear you guys say, well, but Facebook is smart. It knows how to show people and the frequency isn't always the same. Yeah, that's why this 479 million is actually way more. Because also when you look at your frequency, the number is never 1. It might be 1.2, might be 1.5. You're not even in control of that 479 million options. Now, let me know if you want to do the same for 52 cards. Okay. Yes, let's do it for 52 cards. Let's say you're a crazy person running 52 ads in your ad account. And yeah, I don't mean for different offers. I mean literally just any number of ads. Let's say you have 50 of them. What does that math look like? So if we know if you only have 12, you need $9.5 million to have each possible combination tested once if your CPMs are $20 and a frequency is 1. At 52, well, that's how many combinations there are. Okay. You would need this much money. Put it to this way. If you shuffle the deck once every second since the Big Bang, you wouldn't get close. If you have 52 ads, what you're saying is, I am not interested in being able in any way to leverage machine learning, statistical significance, or how the machine actually works. I can't use my Facebook ads in any meaningful way to produce a repeatable result. And when it comes to scaling an ad account, well, the number one thing you need is predictability in the outcome. It's not about getting the cheapest CPA, because getting any customer for cheap based on like attribution is complete nonsense. Amers, let's go. Yeah. Hi, ET. It's good to see you again. By the way, Amers, check it out. Disruptorschool.com/Amers. She'll hook you up. You'll get stuff in there. Go check it out. If you're running attribution software, if you're like wasting money on things like Northbeam, which is hilarious, please don't do that. Or like Hyros and stuff like that, like please, we can have conversations. But if you're still using like tag management based attribution software to see what ad gets credit for things, if you're still running your Facebook ad account like it's 2016, wasting a lot of money to make really bad decisions, disruptorschool.com/Amers, AIMERCE, will bring you into the 21st century. Right now, you're trying to get a horse to run really, really fast, and she has a car. No matter what, you'll never beat it with like tag management ridiculousness. Anyway, that'll being said. So if we want to actually use a machine learning algorithm, Facebook, to do something like scale a business, where scaling a business is not being a good salesperson, it's acquiring attention that you monetize and then turn that into future cash flow, which you then invest in the acquisition of more attention, because we're running a business, not trying to pride ourselves on being decent salespeople, because being a salesperson and having a business are two completely different things. If we're trying to move away from like cost cap, alpha, bro, insecure, scammer bullshit to stacking fucking money, we need to actually get better at using a tool in a way that makes it possible. And if you have 50 ads, there is not enough money and people in the world for you to have any meaningful understanding of how those ads are going to be used. So that basically means you're investing a whole bunch of money to completely misuse a tool to more or less play the lottery and create a whole bunch of problems for yourself. That also, by the way, completely destabilizes your funnel. And if we understand the most profitable transaction in business is everything but the first one. So let's just say the second sale is worth a lot more than the first. And the first sale happens after somebody converts on your webpage. So there's an AOV and a CRO aspect to it. And then above the CRO and conversion rate on a website, you've got things like email and SMS. And above that, you have intent-based marketing, which is like PPC. And above that, you then have intent creation marketing like Facebook. So Facebook is sitting at the top of that funnel. If the kind of people that fall into the top of that funnel change all the time, do you think it's at all possible for you to understand how to get anybody to buy a second time? I mean, you might just by sheer fucking attrition, but you're probably also defining success as like, well, our brand grew 20% last year, but it could be 2x. It could be 4x. There's a reason why I stepped into business like Under Outfit, where we were doing $50K a month. And within a year and a half, we were doing $1 million a week. At 310 Nutrition, we were doing 15 mil when I started. 20 months later, we did 98. There's a reason why those stories happen over and over and over again every single year. And it's because we're not defining success as how do we create so many problems that the business model still works, but we're trying to make the performance marketer feel good according to their ego. Remember, a performance marketer's entire job has absolutely nothing to do with the success and failure of a business. Performance marketing is a pejorative. Like that's a derogatory term to anybody trying to be successful. You don't want a performance marketer. You want a growth marketer. A performance marketer defines their success based on attribution. Like the two people we've had in this here before with Bulletproof and the other guy, you can go check those out. They define success by last touch attribution. They were basically saying, well, I passed college. I got a degree because I was able to sign my name on a paper of a group project where everybody else did work. Look at how good I am, which I think of as 1, disrespectful, 2, fucking stupid, and 3, terrible advice for anybody to follow, especially if you're the person whose bank account is impacted by the work. And I would say instead, the definition of success is the bank account. We all have one scorecard. So if we know that launching a dozen ads would require like an insanely high volume of data for us to understand anything, and that's basically not possible. And by the time you get to dozens of ads, you've completely thrown out using the machine for what it's good at, which is the greatest artificial intelligence and machine learning platform in the world to ultimately condition human behavior. You're saying, no, don't do that. Be Google display and throw my things out there completely fucking random, and I'm going to define success by how much credit for everybody else's work I can take. Once we move past that completely ego-based nonsense way of destroying a business and we actually want to be successful, we need to begin to understand that simple is better. Binary decisions really help. And the number one way of doing that is instead of having 12 ads, you can have one. Now, I hear you. One ad, of course, we all want the best ad, but nobody said your one ad only had to be one array of choices. And in fact, the way that you do this at scale is you can leverage dynamic creatives or flex ads. And the single best way of doing that is what we call a 3-2-2 ad. That's 3 creatives, 2 primary texts, and 2 headlines. Now, complex fails, right? We've already talked about when you have testing hundreds of ads with thousands of variations, you're going to get a ton of false positives. And like, even if you use a DCT or a flex ad where you've got like 10 creatives in there and 5, like you are so far away from the machine having any ability to know who to show an ad to and any consistency in that output. Like you've made success impossible. That's probably a bad idea. I think making success impossible is bad for business. Call me crazy. I've been a part of, like I said, half a dozen 8-figure exits. And, I've been a part of a few businesses that got to 9 figures. And I'm helping people in startups constantly be very successful, usually by firing people like Common Thread Collective, Andrew Ferris, all of the chuckle folks that are on cost caps and 1,000 ads all the time. Like just the people that don't know business and don't care about you and haven't done what you want to do, that define success as a fraction of what you could achieve, trying to give you bad advice to sell you more services. Like, fuck those people. Going out on a limb. Okay. Now, the difference, instead of building 12 individual ads when you use a flex ad, is that this is actually one ad unit with permutations. So if we remember that every ad in the platform is actually a landing page, right? Every ad on Facebook is just another page on Facebook. The post ID is literally just the last string of characters in the URL. And Facebook is measuring, or Meta is measuring, the bounce rate, the click-through rate, the stickiness, the engagement rate of that landing page. And your news feed on Facebook and your Instagram feed and all social media is basically just like a Google search result of a bunch of landing pages. Some you engage with, some you don't. The average person swipes the height of the Eiffel Tower on a daily basis. Your job is to get them to stop, give them a positive experience, and then turn that engagement into something positive for your business. It's not Facebook's job to generate sales. Facebook doesn't make sales. Facebook buys attention. So, like, we got to wrap our heads around that, okay? Now, all that to be said, when you make 12 different ads, those are 12 different landing pages that are segmenting data into 12 different piles that are all competitive with each other and don't communicate. That's a cannibalistic environment. Whatever gets lucky wins. That's absolute shit. Playing the lottery is a really bad way of running a business. Instead, you could use flex ads or dynamic creative, where in this case, the machine has one landing page. So all of that data goes to one place. And that place gets smarter with every win and loss. It's not 12 ads that are getting lucky. It's one ad with 12 permutations, but the landing page is the same. So all the visitors that hit that landing page inform all of the other impressions. So that landing page, remember, is your ad. Everybody who sees that ad informs the machine of who else to show that ad to. So it only ever gets smarter. Now, it's a lot better than it's competing to be lucky enough to be the one that takes credit for the work of everybody else in the machine, and then you sacrifice your entire future built on that thing. No, now we're building a system based around an investment that matures in value, appreciating investments where the machine learning gets smarter and smarter, and you're able to leverage the greatest artificial intelligence in the world to condition human behavior. And instead of isolating all of your data into data sets, where if you think of every ad as an employee, and every time a new employee gets to talk to the folks that have their credit card out and take credit for the entire sale, you just fire the old ones, which is fucking stupid. But what you're doing in your ad account every day, we can instead say, hey, this one employee has several scripts they can read from, and we're going to let them get better at their job. So when you have a couple of these, you can now really begin to understand how these things work. Now, why this is really important is because we got to focus on scaling, right? This is the most scalable ad. If we understand that we've got, say, 4 or 5 ads, well, the way you can shuffle 4 or 5 ads, let's go back to our GPT over here. Let's go back to chat. Can you do this for 5 ads? That costs us $2.40. Yeah. $2.40 or more, or this much. This is 50 ads. This is 5. That means for $2.40, you get a data set of 1 across each permutation at a $20 CPM. If you spend $100, you're starting to get data sets of dozens across every single possible combination. What that means is your ability to know what the machine is going to do when it shows people content, when it flips over the deck of cards, you're going to be able to predict what card comes next. And the machine's going to get a lot better at knowing which cards to show to the right person, because it only costs $2.40 to figure out every possible combination. That's we can afford that. At $10 a day, you can be infinitely smarter than somebody running $1,000 a day with 50 ads. So why not do that? Where the type of attention that you buy is very similar. Because also with only 5 ads, those ads are only going to appeal to a certain group of individuals. And to be fair, you have not yet begun to hit like scaling issues. Okay. I've spent $1 million a day when CPMs were $2. And it took me like a week to saturate the US market. You have not begun to tap out of your total addressable market. Anybody that tells you had has no fucking clue what they're talking about. Okay. Like, unless you're like Nike. Okay. Maybe then. Apple. Yeah, you've done it. But you're also spending billions. Okay. Like, it hasn't happened for you. All right. So the point of this is you don't need every ad to be successful and every ad to create sales and every ad to be profitable. What you need is a collection of ads that are very good at delivering a performance that you understand. So you can actually measure what the fuck is happening. And if you can't measure what's happening, you can't improve it. If you have 12 ads, you have really no idea how those ads are all getting shown. And ultimately what will happen is the machine doesn't either. So it spends all of the money more or less on 2 or 3 ads. And those ads are either good or bad, but you don't know if they are good or bad or why they're good or bad. And as soon as you launch new ads, the way that those new ads get spent and the old ads get spent is completely impossible for you to manage or predict, which means your marketing funnel is completely erratic. You've created instability in your marketing funnel, which is fucking stupid, because it also means at Facebook is completely fucking random every day. Well, your search is completely random. The way that people engage with their email is also random. Your ability to improve your conversion rate optimization is completely fucked, because if everybody walking into your store every single day walks into your store for completely different reasons at completely different times for completely different motivations, buy completely different products, are you ever going to be able to get any salesperson to meet them at the door and get them to buy the thing that's most likely to get them to buy a second time and be happy? No. You're never going to be able to actually solve the most important question in your business, which is, how do I get more people to buy a second time? And if that's not the problem you're trying to solve, let me inform you with this. You're not actually trying to run a business. You're trying to solve the wrong problem. And that's why you're stuck. So getting back to the most scalable ad ever, if we have, say, 5 ads and it costs us $2.40, right? Here we go. $2.40 for the machine to get to statistical significance on a data set of 1. If it's $2.40 to get a data set of 1 to move the machine towards statistical significance and a predictable, measurable outcome, then it's really easy for us to understand, well, what happens when we drop in a 322 ad? What happens when we drop in a new ad to this? If we know ad number 1 gets 7% of the budget and performs this way according to 4PI, and ad number 2 gets like 20% of the budget, ad number 3 gets like 5, and the other ones don't really get much spend, but like, hey, my overall performance is good. What happens when I drop in a new ad? Well, because we haven't set ourselves up to be completely incapable of doing anything of value and scientific, and we're just basically going off of ego and luck. Now we can say, okay, well, we know how all these ads behave. What happens when we introduce a new one? Does our performance get better or worse? Does our bank account go up or not? Very easy. Simple. Binary choices. I launched a new ad. As a result of this ad getting spend, first off, did it earn spend in a CBO or not? If it didn't, then it's not good enough. Did it get spend? Yes or no? Yes, it got spend. Awesome. What happened to the bank account? Well, my bank account looks better. Great. It's a good ad. You can then extrapolate, okay, well, my bank account looked better. How many more sales did I get from new customers on my email flow, which is signal point number 1? How many more people, what was my search volume on Google and Amazon? That's data point number 2. And then in a far more irrelevant data point, what is the CPA on Facebook? Did it go up or down? And the honest truth is, if it goes up, maybe things got better. If it goes down, maybe things got worse. And I hear you be like, how does my CPA going down make things worse? What if that new ad has a frequency that's higher than average with a CPM that's higher than average? And the reason it's really successful is because it's just hitting all of the people that were going to buy anyway. And really, you just spent more money letting something come in and sign its name on the paper before it gets handed to the professor and take credit for the A, even though it did absolutely fucking nothing to get the job done. Well, your CPA getting better has nothing to do with your bank account going up. And I'd argue that your CPA getting better in a way that makes your bank account not go up means that CPA getting better doesn't fucking mean anything. But maybe your ROAS is solid. But again, remember, ROAS doesn't mean anything. It's a complete nonsense metric, only valued by people that have absolutely no clue what they're talking about. It can be a directional metric. It can give context to other decisions. But if somebody says I'm running X amount of money at a ROAS of this, what that tells me is I'm spending a lot of money and I have no fucking clue what happens because of it. That's what that means. And so we can begin to start making smarter choices. Now, when we're talking about the most scalable ad ever, we're beginning to look at when I introduce this new ad, what happens to my bank account? Now, let's say it does good. Okay, if my bank account looks better, that means I have a higher volume of revenue with which to add into my marketing budget. And then as my revenue goes up and my allowable ad spend goes up as well, I can scale those ads. And ultimately, that 322 ad is going to have in its own right a best possible combination. And we can extrapolate the 1 or 2 of those by looking at the post IDs. And replacing 1 or 2 of those 5 ads that we had as our control in our scientific method with the new one that does that job better. And you're going to really be able to tell, because let's say you're spending $100 a day and one ad gets 65, another ad gets 20, another ad gets 10, and the rest all kind of pitter and patter. If you launch a new ad and that one that was getting 10 all of a sudden goes down to basically 0 and your performance gets better, well, that new ad that was launched, maybe it's got 10 now. You're going to see how that deck gets shuffled, how the investment allocation changes. And if the new ad makes a better business and older ads see less spend, well, this ad is replacing what those other ads do. So you can get rid of those other ads with something that does the job better. That's how you improve things, right? You make your weakest link stronger so you can handle more load, and then you do more stuff. And in fact, when you start to look at maybe what we need to do in a scientific, maybe what we need to do in a data science built artificial intelligence piece of software is do something crazy. Hear me out. We're going to actually use the scientific method instead of ego and luck to move the business forward. Maybe instead of trying to listen to people who push content creation and depleting your business, folks that sell services, maybe we stop listening to people who sell services for good advice on how to be good. Like, that's one of my biggest complaints, and I've mentioned it here before, but one of my biggest complaints about Common Thread Collective, they run cost caps only. So generally speaking, their ads sit lower in the funnel, so they are less incremental but look better on your balance sheet. They look better in the ad account. Your attribution is better. And then they also, by the way, have an attribution software that you can use so you can trust that their ads are ones that are good. And what happens when you run a bunch of those? Oh, my ads fatigue. Oh, lucky for you, they sell creative services. Oh, shit. Okay, so you can make my vanity metrics look better. And when that creates problems, you can sell me the solution to that problem too, which means I can pay you more money. Great. And that's why I say Taylor's really good at running a business, but meaningfully and honestly, absolute dog shit at the work. I would never let him touch an ad account because he has no idea what he's doing. That's neither here nor there. Let's getting back to the most scalable ad. The reason that this is really going to help us understand things is because now we have utmost confidence of this simple question that you need to know. When my business is good, why? When my business is struggling, why? If you're running 50 ads, you have no idea what any ad is doing to the bottom line of your business. It's impossible for you to know. When you run 12 ads, odds are you have no idea what's happening to the bottom line of your business because of those ads. Now, you might have 5 ads in one campaign and 6 ads in another. Like, that's okay. Maybe you've got 5 ads in one campaign and 6 ads in another, plus another campaign is running catalog ads. Okay, well, 5 ads in one campaign that are all focused on selling the product that most commonly gets somebody to buy a second time. Great. We can understand how that many ads impacts that business objective. And then we can have maybe 6 ads that we're running against trying to get people to have a higher GPT because it's the buy 3, get 1 free offer. And the AOV is twice as high as the average person. And we're trying to improve day 1 profitability there so we can spend more money on acquiring long flow cash, because we don't need to make money here on day 1 if we're generating a higher profit here, because really your business doesn't give a shit about the cost per each transaction. Or that is, can your blended CPA be less than your AOV, and can you get enough volume of that profit to pay yourself and to invest in getting more? That's how business works. Down to the ad level is completely irrelevant. When you understand that those ads all have a different job, and then in this case, the catalog ad is there for volume of transactions to again suppress the CPA. So you have one campaign that's suppressing CPA, another campaign that's pushing up your gross profit on day 1, and then another campaign that's buying future cash flow. Well, shit. Now you've got 3 campaigns. Maybe you have 12 different ads there, and your business is probably going to be exponentially better than what you used to do. Your definition of success is now 80%, 180%, 380% growth every single year, and 100% possible, especially in these economic hardships, because everybody else is trying to play the game of destroying their future, and you could just actually run a decent business. So if we understand that's the game, then we need to know, well, how do we build the best version of this ad? And for your benefit, and just because I use this thing all the time, let me show you a tool that I built specifically to answer that question and to solve that problem, and to do so in a way that is stupid easy. Okay? This is the 322 method ads copywriter. Now, the first thing we need to understand, for anybody that doesn't quite get it, copy is everything. I get it that you have a thumb-stopping video that went viral. It's hard to hear that your business is suffering. You don't want to go viral. You want only people who are interested in your product to see the ads. Now, maybe your product goes viral and you have a mass market product, in which case, great. I'm selling Kleenex and I went viral. Great. I'm selling orthopedic shoes for women who have diabetes. I don't want 5 million people to see that ad that aren't likely to buy. My wife runs a Pilates studio in LA. I don't care about that ad going viral in Denmark. It doesn't mean anything. That's not actual money in the bank account. It doesn't do anything for us. The words really, really, really matter, because the words are what give context. Now, remember how the eyeball and the brain navigates any ad that you see anywhere at any time and has for well over 100 years, which is why newspapers look exactly like your Instagram newsfeed. You have the creative. Your eyes then go to the headline. That headline, famously, I think it was David Ogilvy who said 80 cents of the dollar you spent is on the headline. And the point of that is, your picture makes somebody care if there's a picture. It gets their attention enough to read the headline. The purpose of the creative is to get somebody to read the headline. That headline does 80% of the work on getting somebody to be interested to either read the primary text, read the whole article if it's a print, or go to your website. The purpose of the primary text is to get somebody over the finish line. But I believe it was Leo Burnett, or maybe it's Eugene Schwartz, famously said that, like, nobody reads that. Maybe they do, but, like, let's be honest. The majority of what you know in the news cycle is the headline. You're not reading a 1,000-page article to do stuff. When was the last time you read the primary text of an ad? You were like, well, I was kind of on the fence, but those words above the image, shit, now I'm going to buy. Like, you just don't do that. But the way the eyeball tracks is it goes from the creative to the headline, then to the primary text. The creative stops the scroll. Remember, the average person swipes the Eiffel Tower on a daily basis. The purpose of the creative is to stop their scroll to earn enough of their attention to read the headline. The headline gives context to that creative and ultimately takes that creative and gives it context to what the offer is. The creative and the headline are there to set an expectation of what is on the landing page. From there, the eye goes either to the primary text, or you click the button, or you move on. That's how this all works. Okay. So really killer copy is where you have to start. And that's why DR advertisers just destroy your business. Folks that are DR heavy, just make the sale, like an Ashton Shanks. There's a reason why, like, he's out of the business. And it's because those people aren't actually any good at making ads that people want to engage with. They're just trying to make a sale. But remember, on Facebook, you're trying to buy attention, and the CPMs that you pay is a direct reflection of the quality of the impressions and the inventory that you buy. And higher CPM means that it's more premium inventory, and it's usually either more premium inventory or much lower quality. And the easiest way for you to get a lot better at your business is to begin to optimize for estimated action rates so that you buy higher quality inventory for a lower price. If you're trying to grow your business, the number one way isn't to try to make the best ads, do all sorts of things. You could literally just give a shit about your customer more than the person whose product is on the shelf at the store. That's the easiest way, especially in this wonderful opportunity we have right now of, like, economic crisis. And I'm saying that as a person that has been here, like, the last time this leadership in the United States destroyed the economy, like, I've been through this recession before. We've been here. This is all old hat. It's happened for well over 100 years, right? And in my lifetime, I was born in 1984. There are studies of basically every time any Republican comes into office, in the recession that happens because of it, how advertising works, and people make a lot of money. In fact, there's part of the making of a lot of money that goes into the design of the economic destruction that defines a lot of the business practices around it. But that's a whole other thing for a whole other day. I'm not trying to get terribly political here, but just understand, like, some people destroy the economy for self-benefit. Other people make the economy better for benefit. And it basically goes down party lines, and that has gone on for generations. The point is, the path forward is very knowable because we've done it 1,000 times. So what we need to do is do better at meeting the expectation, setting the expectation at the ad level, and then meeting it at the landing page. So here's how we do that. This is Disruptor Academy. Okay, this is my community on school. This is my landing page. It is simple. This is the copy. It's not long. It's not crazy. It's not long. It's not crazy. Anybody can do it. Hi. Hello. Anybody can do it. Now, with this simple landing page, I'm going to be able to use that GPT to reference some of the greatest copywriters in history to write ads to make somebody feel a certain way. And I can also use those exact conversations to generate images or scripts for videos to create creative that sets up the headline to set the expectation. So when somebody clicks on that ad and lands on the landing page, they're interested. There's a reason why I've been able to go from 0 to 269 people. And look, I'm full transparency here. My dashboard of 219 people, I'm making $16,500 MRR. 100 days ago, this was at 0, right? My payouts are in the thousands on a regular basis, right? 3,000, 8,000, 6,000. This is every single week. Okay. Here's how we do it. We're going to copy this URL. We're going to go back to ChatGPT. Here we are. Remember, this is a free tool, 322 Method Ads Copywriter, been used by well over 10,000 people, 4.5 star, 4.6 star rating, I think, at this point. Here's how you do it. Start with your LP, paste. Now, the machine is going to search the web and it's going to verify with us that we are, in fact, looking at the right thing. Okay, let's see. Proven frameworks, yes. Expert guidance, yes. Community support, the 100% of your ad scaling questions answered, yes. The stuff behind me spending 635 mil, sure. Spend 90% less time babysitting ads, absolutely. So let's move on to the next steps. To create compelling ad copy, please share who's my target audience, my USP, and desired outcome. My target audience is digital marketers and brand owners who want to see more success with less stress for their ads. And I want to help them scale their business with confidence. So let's do that. Brand owners and marketers who want to see more success and less stress with their ads so that they can scale with confidence. Boom. There we go. Now it's understanding the positioning, the USP, the desired outcomes, the target audience. By the way, yes, I'm a marketer, so there is a bit of a funnel in here. You can go ahead and join. 7-day free trial, $97 a month. Like, why aren't you using this? And then boom, it's going to reference thousands of ads that have spent millions of dollars and converted for people for many, many years to write ad copy for you. This is right out of the gate with the best performing ads that are on the Meta platform. Now, if that's not good enough for you, you could say, I like this list, but can you make it sound like Don Draper wrote it? This is a fictional character from a TV show. But yeah, sure. That's what Don Draper would write. Okay. Now let's say we want to use a real person. Okay. Let's say we really enjoy the marketing from, I don't know, let's say Liquid Death. Can you make this sound like an ad from Liquid Death? Sure. Here you go. Boom. Done. Now I can do this over and over and over again, but we want to make a 3-2-2 ad here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick 2 of these. Let's say your strategy sucks. This doesn't. Love that. And let's say $97 a month to obliterate the guesswork and actually grow. Boom. Done. Now the machine is going to take that information and based on the context of the landing page and the headlines I chose, write me primary text. Now I just pick 2 of these and I already have all the copy written for my 3-2-2 ad done in the machine for free in seconds. This is an ad that'll meet needs. And I can understand according to my 4PI analysis. So I want to steal competitors from someplace else, or I want to find moms that are crunchy, or I want to overcome some objections. Well, we can write ads for the middle of the funnel or prospecting. And in fact, let's do that. Can you rewrite these ads to focus on top of funnel efforts? I want to have a lower frequency and a lower CPM with my ads to reach more people and grow my business? Sure. And you see it shifting from the middle of the funnel to top of funnel. Boom, done. It'll solve the problems for you. Literally that easy. Now, if we want to copy this, copy that text and go back over to chat, we could also say, can you make an Instagram ad with exciting visuals in a 1-by-1 format using this conversation below as the guide? Now it's getting started. We've got our sun and our moon and the little spinny bit and the mountains. So that means we're using the highest, most recent version of ChatGPT to do this work for us. Whoop, here we go. Boom, my bad. Here we are. So there's the conversation, right? Just copy and pasted everything. It's coming down. It's getting started. Now we've already made it write the copy for us. And to be fair, we already did enough to get 3 or 4 ads a copy and on headlines. And then we said, make some primary text for us. And now we're going to have it make the images. And I can tell you that I've 100% done this for myself over and over again. And the business is successful. These ads scale because they're built around the audience that I've accrued. The ads sound like my business based off the landing page that works. There's complete continuity in what's going on. And now the creative, the headline, the primary text have continuity with the expectation and sound like the business to get people, in this case, that are strangers to become customers. This is great. Love this. Can you make it 234% more unhinged? Which I just think is funny. And I got to type it in there, but the machine doesn't care. Fun fact, I'm going to actually build these ads and launch them live later today. So if you see these ads in the space, understand that I'm literally just doing my work right now. So that like I'm literally just showing you exactly how I'm building the ads that allow me to scale, where my daily spend has gone from $20 to $240 in 3 months. And that's a daily budget, which is at this point 1.5% of my monthly recurring revenue. Kim asks, would this work for a beginner though that doesn't have all that data to feed it? Kim, yes. And here's how I would pivot this. You do not exist in isolation. Who's to say, Kim, that it needs to be your product? Say, this is my product, and here are all of my competitors. Ask me questions to help understand the difference between my product and theirs, and then write it out for me. Done. Look at this. Interesting, right? All right, now we have some typos in here. So, you can't always use AI direct, but you already see like how this works, right? So let's do one more. Can you redo this, but change the color scheme and make it only 4 words on the screen? One last ad. I hope you're seeing just how easy this is. And more importantly, that you launching 1,000 ads is the dumbest thing you could possibly do. And what I've shown you here every single step of the way is why launching new ads every week is fucking stupid. Why the easiest way for you to grow your business is to probably just cut back on bad ads. Why launching all of those ads makes the machine dumb and costs you a bunch of money. The way for you to understand how to optimize your ad account, How to understand why a 322 ad is exponentially more valuable than you just guessing what copy and creative goes together. Then the entire process to take that information with the landing page that you have to create ads that have continuity between the landing page, the customer expectation, and the journey and the product. To write all the copy, and to be fair, outside of the copy, I could also ask this thing to write a better landing page. I could have this thing write a different email flow. You could have this thing do anything. That's the beauty of it. If you're not doing this, you're probably working a lot harder than you need to make a lot less money than you should be. That being said, I hope you've enjoyed this today. I sure did. And I'll see you all later. Thank you so much. If you love this, please go ahead and subscribe. If you have any questions, ask it in the comment section of this video. Tell your friends, and don't forget to subscribe to the Disruptor Academy YouTube channel, because we're just doing full-length courses now. It's just 2-hour long screen share step-by-step courses, completely available, 100% free. Yeah. All right, everyone. Take it easy. I'll talk to you later.